Greetings, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the QTech Connection podcast. I am your host, Andres, and today we have episode 12, where we're going to talk about our journey to Asana and finding the perfect platform of productivity that has helped us, that has assisted with our needs and our requirements. And today's episode, we're going to go through the phases that myself and the team have gone through to get to where we are today, which is Asana as our main productivity application. We have broken down today's episode as one to hopefully help you listeners or anybody else out there that might be looking at changing or implementing a productivity application like Asana into your workflow. Because it took us several trials and errors, a lot of patience, a lot of research. Months of patience, months of research. And with that, we kind of hopefully are able to give you an understanding of that process and some of the mistakes that we made, some of the great things that we accomplished, and lessons learned. So let's get started. Our initial challenges. So when we first started, as our listeners know, QTech started as a mainly IT company. So for IT, we utilize something called a support desk. And through this support desk is how we manage all of our tickets, support issues, and how we're able to track and escalate and manage and be able to keep an eye on what's going on between our support desk and our customers. When we decided to expand into the digital realm, we tried to use the ticket system at first to kind of keep things congruent, but we easily found that that was not going to work for us.
Let me stop you right there. We did not start with the ticket system. I am taking you even before that. Andres already had in system something for his own tracking called Pagico.
We're going back to the Pagico days. That's correct.
Pagico. So
Pagico.
The ticket system wasn't even mentioned then. First, it was Pagico because he was like, "Hey, Mallory, this is what I'm kind of using to keep track of like his more administrative stuff and projects." And he would leave little notes here and there. He was like, "You can take this and kind of like test it." And I went bananas in it and I started expanding that thing. And probably if I would have stayed there for longer, I would have made a whole web of like stuff. But it was a little outdated. And because we were still building all of the departments, I did not have a clear understanding of what processes we were going to have. The packages were still in the building process. There was a lot of research done. I didn't even know how we were gonna do like the content approval and things like that. So I was using Pagico more for like trying to leave little notes for Andres to see, kind of like what was being done in a sense of overall project management.
Thank you for reminding me about Pagico. That was something I was using with our design team because even though before we started the digital marketing side, we were already doing websites myself. And then as I got busy, I brought in another team of designers and web developers to assist me in that journey. And through that process, I had to do what you had to do before you joined us, which was research a platform. These were the days before Monday, Asana,
Trello,
Trello, Airtable, you name it. At that time, there was really no application. Pagico was the only solution out there. And the best part was I'm a Linux user, and the application was actually made for Linux. So it was one of the first applications that I found for the business that was solely made for the operating system that I love to use, which is Linux. A few months after, I submitted a request to Pagico and said, are you guys ever going to release a Windows platform? Because the way I was handling project updates at the time was I'll send an email out. The guys would give me an update, and then I kind of manually did it myself because nobody else had access to the database. It was just Pagico on my system, my Linux system, which I was so happy about because that's like the one of the native apps that I could use on the operating system. And then a few months after the request came through, they said yes, and they released a Windows version. So I was able to then buy licenses and install Pagico on the other team members' computers, create a shared space on our cloud server to have the file there. But then we found out that only one person could read and write to that database. So it's either Daniel will use it, I will use it, or some of the other team members will use it. And we soon learned that that wasn't going to work because we had to constantly be in touch with each other. And again, these are times before Teams was even out. There was no Zoom. So interconnectivity between things was a lot of emails, a lot of calls. I don't even think WhatsApp was out there yet. I don't recall when WhatsApp came out. Or so if WhatsApp was out, I think we started using that as a
WhatsApp was out.
communication. So I submitted another request. I still love Pagico. If you guys need an offsite system that you want to track, Pagico is a beast. It's great. They have improved dramatically. The capabilities they have now are amazing. But again, unfortunately, as we did a review and everything, it didn't work for us. But they were great at feedback. As I recall, I submitted another request saying, hey, there should be an option for shared workspaces. And they did. They launched it, and it allowed us to sync workspaces between different Pagico installations. So not to get too off topic on this one, because it is a walk in memory lane, we easily started finding out that we started outgrowing tools. So this was one of the first things that when Mallory came on board, we tried to expand. And as much as she tried to make it work, we started kind of bumping heads because things wouldn't sync on time, duplicates would happen. One person would have one dashboard and the other person wouldn't have the same dashboard. We couldn't control what the layout for your dashboard was. So anytime we had a meeting, we'll be asking, oh, if you look at task number 3, and task number 3 could be upload image, but for Mallory it could be start copywriting, and for Daniel could be download, the images the client, provided. So there was no congruity, there's no real flow in reference to the application assisting in that process to us. So what did we do after that? I recall we had a meeting where you kind of opened up and said, I am not happy with this platform.
I can't do this anymore.
I can't do this anymore. And with that is how we embarked in this research journey. So after Pagico, where did we go?
We did try the ticket system.
Oh, okay.
Which
So
I
Pagico
massively failed after like 3 days.
Yeah. We quickly found out that our ticket system is great for customer issues.
Yep.
Not really for managing internal development processes and status updates and such. Yep. So after a brief period of finding out quickly that we had to pass, what did we do next?
Then we went ahead and we tried Trello.
So let me ask you, as we start exploring other options, what were some of the criteria for the new platforms that we were looking for?
Well, I had previously known about Trello. I didn't know about Pagico, but I did know about Trello because I had used it. I have had previous kind of some jobs here and there for organizing and conducting photo shoots for models and for photographers and videographers. So one of my really, really good friend that was a fashion designer kept having his iPad and kept having this beautiful artsy board that he would swipe and have a bunch of cards, and every card would have a different fashion design, and he would open the design and then he would have all of the shots that he wanted. And so I kind of had visualized it previously. I had seen it in the field how it would help a professional, meaning in this case a photographer, and in this case a professional fashion designer. So I knew about that at that time. Then I had a phase where I was going to write a book. So I had my own account, my own personal account. So when I was trying out the Pagico thing and stuff, on the side, I was already on my testing phase of Trello because I had liked it so much how I saw it, these other professionals used it. So I had already tested stuff. So I had something in mind. Getting in here and doing our research and building the teams, my brain just kind of put together like, ooh, Trello would be a really cool thing because if I've seen a full fashion show be organized through Trello, I can definitely organize, social media. Or I can definitely, if I wanted to organize a book, I can organize copywriting here. So it made sense
I
for me to bring it to the table and to give it a test.
let me chime in here because I do recall we transitioned before you came on Trello. We had other projects. We had big projects with Nestle, Siemens, and two other large companies that for whatever reason the names are escaping my head right now, where the projects were so big that their team had Trello. And
You guys
my
had worked with Trello before. So when I offered it and I brought the platform to the table, it was very funny because when I was going to ask the really tiny team of ours that we had at that time, hey, I need you guys to create your account so you can join my boards that I'm going to start creating. They were like, oh, we already have an account. So you just have to
correct.
look up our user. And I'm like, no freaking way. So you're telling me that you guys have used Trello and we were
Yes.
wasting time with other stuff. So,
The
um,
thing, the thing we're wasting time is because my experience with Trello was very messy.
hmm,
I disliked how you couldn't customize the views and you were always stuck in this vertical lineup. You couldn't change the views. You were always stuck in the card. And I like that you can take a card and move it from the left to the right as you
mhm.
progress through the development phase or whatever application you're doing. I didn't like the vertical organization because we had some cards that were 100, 200 tasks that fit within that one section. So that column was long. So scrolling through it and we tried breaking it down, but it wouldn't. So for me, it got too much. So as you were looking at Trello, I was already kind of in the background saying, no way.
Let me give you a little pause right there, guys. He's saying this right now, yet most of our systems right now are in board view on Asana. Just letting you guys know,
Not on
okay?
mine. Not on mine. All my views are list view.
Stop
So
it. I'm gonna check your account. Stop it.
check my account and you're gonna find
I
all of my
fix your
cards
account
are
all
in
the
list view.
time. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see. Now I'm gonna see because all of our processes are, well, for example, all of our website processes are board views. You can't access it in a list form. It doesn't make sense. You break the
But the
flow.
beautiful part of now is that I have less to do with websites than I did back then.
Yeah.
So it kind of
So
helps that
now he
I just
only
kind of
jumps
get
on his
updates
task.
from the
He only
team.
jumps
And
on his task. So it's
yeah,
different. He doesn't even go in the board anymore. Of
I
course, he
don't go on some
doesn't.
boards. So
Yes, we know
those
that.
vertical boards won't be haunting me anytime soon.
Okay, so
So as we go through this
mhm,
discussion, exploring options and things, I tasked you with some research,
mhm.
and you brought Trello board, and I was already kind of like pushing it to the side.
But we did use
How
it
long did we use it? I
for
don't
we
recall.
did use it
That's how
for
much
a
I
good
probably
three
used.
months.
3 months? Okay.
Yeah.
So as we kind of fell through the cracks with Trello, because again, I looked at it and my brain was like, nope, not for me. I
Hmm.
am burned out already and I just started. And so what initial research or potential replacement or tools did we engage on?
The next one that I did a testing phase, but it did not pass my tests. I presented it. We did a trial, but we stopped using after like a week. It was Airtable. Airtable is more specifically designed for content approval, for Google Sheets approvals, and to better have a back and forth with the client. Yet it was lacking a lot of other features that I might had in Trello and that now I have in our system. But it had one thing, but it didn't have the other. So that only lasted like, I'm not even kidding, like a week or two. So we went, okay, guys, we're moving to a different place. And then I had a phase where I was like, okay, we're gonna go back to Trello because at least I can make it function right now. and I'm going to continue my research. And then I did a trial run for 3 websites: Monday.com, Today, and Asana.
Today. That's right.
From the first 2, Monday and Today, Monday was good at some things, but Today was good at others. Again, it would the user experience was a little bit not as user friendly as now, because now they have a bunch of metrics that are super cool for tracking a lot of things automatically, and it's super cool. But they didn't have that back then. That's like a 2 years ago update. So it was lacking a lot of like user friendly experience. So I knew that I could build my systems and my ideas there, but I knew it was at that time we had a very completely different team than we have right now. And I just knew by personality, this was going to be, it was just going to be so hard to get everyone under the same room and under the same umbrella. And it was just not going to work. So they didn't pass the test. And we started doing a free trial with Asana.
Before we continue there, so as we went through, can you just walk me, like, what were some of our early contenders that we had?
After reviewing the Monday, Today, and Asana, Asana was always winning.
Okay.
The only thing that was not winning for me was the price. The other 2 were
We know
cheaper.
the price.
Yeah, the
I see
other
that
2
invoice
were
annually.
cheaper. So that's the only, I think that's the one thing that was stopping me from making that decision of Asana, because I was like, damn, if we're gonna pay for this, I better use every single feature that's in here because, the other ones were at that time were way cheaper, but they had less capabilities and less communication, like different views, different communication styles. So Asana was always my top pick, but I was doing my best, my very best, to not make that price an investment.
So let me ask, because I'm trying to remember, how did you sell me on Asana? Because now that you
I,
mentioned the price,
yep,
is making me go ask my
I
accounting
actually
team,
had to
hey,
do
how
a
much are we
full
paying for Asana right now?
presentation. I actually had to do a full presentation to you. I don't know if you remember, but I literally had to create my own free account. I took tutorials. I also I did a course on the platform. Also got my email, my corporate email, I got it into the community emails from
Okay.
Sana so I could ask questions on different things and read other people's questions of what they're doing. And then I discovered a guru on YouTube that started creating videos for first time users in Asana. So I literally started learning that like if it was a college degree. I'm not even kidding.
So let me ask. So, dear listeners, if you're just tuning in and such, we're kind of talking about our journey to picking a productivity tool,
Mm-hmm.
and we've started with some very old, very powerful tools that I do. Now you're making me sentimental. I'm actually put up Pagico. Hey,
I actually want to
side
see how
notes.
it's looking now.
I had a customer who we did a project for years ago come back and say, hey, can you remember what this, and that was? And I was going crazy thinking about it. Then I'm like, oh my God, I have that archive on Pagico. I dusted it off, opened up like new. All my information was there. And it was such an amazing journey going through all those different projects, seeing different client notes because clients are at one point connected to them, team members, all writers, all designers, and just going through all those things. So it was a great little time machine, or not time machine, time capsule per se,
Mm-hmm.
that I found and went through. So now that we got to the Asana revelation, you made a presentation, you got a college degree on Asana, you learned
That's how
it
it
up
felt
and
like.
down. How did we go about implementing it, and what were kind of the team's first impressions? Because I can tell you now, my dear listeners, I was hands off.
Yeah.
Okay. I delegated this task and I ran away 1,000 feet. And I didn't look back. I didn't ask hi. I didn't say hello. Do you need help? I just said, this bomb is yours. You're responsible. Good luck. I'll see you later. And I ran and never
Yep.
looked back. So, how How was it? How did it start? The implementation? What were kind of the first impressions?
It was hard. It was hard because actually you made it harder for me because you told me that if this was the tool, if I believed that this tool was going to be for QTech, I should make it happen with the free trial first. And that was really rough because all the features I wanted were on the paid version. So
I
everything I
recall.
wanted to create, I could not create. So I had to imagine how to do it like manually, and it was a little messy. I
I
ended up
do recall.
creating boards where I started teaching our graphic designer, our SEO. It was a very back and forth, back and forth. Our graphic designer got it straight to the point really, really fast. Our SEO, man, it was rough. It was
They
really
had a hard
rough
time. I
because
recall.
I was trying to customize each board of each department to how the person worked, not have one system that everyone had to learn.
Oh, let's
So
not.
that
That's
was
that's going to be one of my next questions as
okay.
we go through this
Okay.
discovery. Because once we implement it, dear listeners, not only did we find the tool, but this young lady here took it upon herself to customize things per staff member,
Yeah.
and that was great until it wasn't.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that in a moment. So
So
I
to
do
stay on
recall you
topic,
coming to me and me looking at the price tag and me looking at, oh my God, we have a lot of expenditures from this department.
yeah.
We have additional expenses. We're just getting off the ground with the digital marketing team. And here's this beautiful quote. I know it was a couple thousands of dollars. So I was a little skeptical at first to say, okay, we're going to commit to spending several thousands of dollars on a
Exactly.
platform that I have no idea what it is.
And we didn't even have all of the seats filled.
And starting, that's right, because they give you buckets
Yep.
of seats already pre-purchased. So
We would
use
just
them or
have
not, you
empty
pay
seats.
for all the
Exactly.
seats. So yes, we didn't have all the seats taken,
Mhm.
and we were getting ready to that was one of our first big expenditures
Yep.
for digital marketing. So as we went through this first impression, so you kind of share your impression of how we came about this. My impression was this thing better do a lot of stuff by itself with the price tag. I mean, I just want to think it and it does it, and the client is happy, I get paid, and I walk away and Asana is the best. That was my return investment. It just does it for me.
Yeah.
So I didn't use it for a while. I was not involved. I was focusing on IT. That was my main focus. I kind of let Mallory just run things too. You were kind of handicapped because we had the trial,
Yeah.
but yet you made it work. You made
Yeah.
it work to a point where I started seeing an improvement in communication, especially as our team we've always been fully remote. At that time, we had people in South America, United States, and we still had to come together, work as one. And I started seeing the benefits to the point that, and again, my memory in this is not great because it's just such a busy period that we had going on. When did we
Actually,
commit?
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I just had a revelation just now. Before the free trial of Asana, you actually gave me a different challenge
Remind me, please.
to use Teams.
Oh my God, yes. Oh,
And
I
all of the
what? Thank you.
Microsoft integrations and apps, and you were like, just connect everything and make everything work.
So, okay, thank you for that memory refresher. Yes, as I saw the price tag, I
Yep.
sat back and started saying, wait a minute. We need to have a tool ready that has some functionality or something that we can do. And at that time, Teams came out. It was still kind of on its baby phases. We could do conferencing calendars, video conferences and such. And they started rolling out these add-ons. And through those add-ons, I saw like task manager, scheduler, to-do lists, project, and Microsoft Project was a huge thing, which I actually told Mallory about to look into. But it wasn't really looking back. It was kind of like trying to get Pagico to work to what we were trying to do. So it was one of those business decisions that you just looked at a dollar amount without seeing the potential of improvement to the team, communications, And the benefits, you're just stuck seeing a price tag and saying, I got to find something cheaper. Let me do it myself. And yes, unfortunately, I wasted your time, but it was an exercise because we went through it. You tried it. We used it for some time.
Yeah, we used it for like a
And
month.
I realized how cumbersome it was and how you couldn't track because,
Guys, it was a mess. No,
ladies and
no.
gentlemen,
It was a
she
horrible
got smart
mess.
because I started asking for reports and things, and she was giving me garbage. And I'm like, what? And she's like, well, I can't do this. I can't do that. You want to see this. You want to see how many tasks are completed. You want to see who's got what task. You want to see what department is doing, X, Y, Z. And
At
she
one
was
point,
just
I was
throwing
taking
me,
screenshots. I'm not
yeah,
even kidding. I was like, I don't know how else to prove this. Like, this doesn't have the features. It was, it was rough. It was a fun, rough time, but it was a good mental exercise and challenge to take on. And it
it
gave
was a challenge.
patience to the entire team too, because all the team
And
was switching from side to side too. So,
yeah. And like I said, looking back in hindsight, now that I have more experience, if I went back in time, I would have been like, Andres, be quiet. Asana is the way to go. Do it. Bite the bullet. Cost of doing business. Proceed. But it got us to a good point because that started opening my eyes a little more, getting
mhm,
the team on board, but mostly getting myself on board because at that time I was still not 100% involved with digital marketing at all.
mhm,
I was completely. I
exactly.
was treating the business as to
Yeah.
digital marketing is here, it's getting settled, you're putting it together, it's getting structure, and I'm here
Actually,
running
that started
IT.
happening in the past year.
Yeah, where we started kind of coming
Yeah.
together as a unit as one. And with that, so the decision making process was simple. You just said, you know what, you have me going on this egg hunt. You want me to use Teams? I'll use Teams and show you how horrible it is until you just say, you know what, let's go. So we signed, we came to a consensus that said Asana is the way that we need to go. And now that we have it, I'm actually very happy with it. So how do we go about the implementation and transition? We really didn't have a transitional plan because, again, you took it as Superwoman to one weekend, take everything we had in different places, Teams, Trello, Pagico, Excel sheets, and everything, and you started just kind of creating things and having boards ready. So I know we had a transitional period because it wasn't done in a weekend. There was a lot of work that you had to do.
Oh no, it was just done at nighttime.
Correct.
That's it. It was
At
just
that time,
extra hours at nighttime. Put on my music and just start going with the flow and creating. It was a lot of sketching as well. A lot of people don't think that that's involved, but
no, I mean, it makes sense
it
because
was a
you got to
lot of
start thinking about how data flows,
or
how
exactly,
task
yeah.
flows between things and everything.
And
So,
asking the team as well what they wanted so I could create it.
and how was that process?
It was horrible.
I love the honesty.
I truly wanted to break my computer several times. I'm not gonna lie. It was horrible because when you try to cater to everyone, you end up not doing one thing that connects. So that was my blocker, you know? Like I had to take all of these different processes, all of these different styles, all of these different ways of production for then to figure out a magical way of connecting everyone's personality into one and to make it actually seamless and work,
And that
which
was
I
that
actually
was
made it happen
you did. You
at
did.
the end, but it
And
could
now
be
let's dig a
further
little deeper
optimized.
into that because you did kind of pamper everybody. You
Yeah.
were taking a lot on without communicating that you were taking everything on. You just like, yep, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll figure it out. And you started developing everybody's dashboard to their preferences,
Yeah.
which in hindsight, it sounds like it's a great idea. Oh yeah, it's part of a software. You can customize your dashboard. You can customize your workflows as you work instead of a procedural standardized system. You customize it per individual, which again, it sounds like a great idea until it wasn't. So
Yeah.
walk me through the first challenges that we had once these boards were created and customized per team member.
Because I was catering to everyone's wants, people could be more flexible to get away with things that they were not doing. I think that that was my challenge number one, like my biggest challenge. So because it's catered to me, and she thinks that I use this A through C, and it's just perfect. And I can just take my sweet time and not reporting certain things and not doing certain things. So yeah.
So we really didn't have any resistance from the team because again, you really pamper them and you kind of
Well,
roll,
I think I have
roll.
pampered the team in many different ways. One with the system, but I have pampered them with work. I've pampered them with their communication. I've pampered them with notifications and pampered them. I have pampered them with due dates. So I really have done that pretty much in every single aspect.
So with that and with that pampering, we learned some quick lessons on team management, people management. Not everybody will be grateful for those things. The human spirit, sometimes they want to find the quickest way of doing something, getting away with something, or engaging with something else. So as we overcame those challenges, what success story would you take from this phase as we transition from the different tools that we tried, as we implemented Asana? What is a success story that you might want to share with our listeners?
My knowledge in Asana, I've worked so much on it. I've designed so many boards, so many rules, so many things that my success would be translated into having a client see that and want that for themselves in their business.
Okay, so before we jump to that, because that's actually the next section that we're going to be talking about.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
a success story for me would be not giving up on the platform, because not only was I not really involved, you were handling this all by yourself, dealing with the stress of me asking for things and requiring stuff and not seeing them, while you were dealing with challenges from the team of them trying to be sneaky or trying to play the system or trying to just buy more
Yeah.
time for them to complete their task. You didn't give in. You kept fighting. You brought me to my attention if we had to have any discipline actions or things like that with team members. So
Hmm.
you stuck to it. You took ownership
Yeah.
of the task and you carried on forward. So for me, that would be a success story. The fact that as challenging as it was, as alone you were at this task, you took ownership of it and you said, no, I am going to finish this thing. I want to prove that one, I was right with the platform. Two, it is going to help us. Three, it's got potential because I'm able to do all these different things
Yeah.
that now we get to our current use and benefits. So about a year and a half or a year ago, as we were reviewing our business plans and ideas and such, one of the weaknesses that we discovered was I wasn't really treating the two sides as one. I was kind of handling one company, company number two, and in reality, they're both under the same umbrella. So one of the things that came up in one of the meetings that I had with you was we need to start being more cohesive within the company. We're all part of the same team and things like
Yep.
that. And we've had some staff changes and such that has made me use the application more. So from my point of view, Asana has evolved so much to where it was at the beginning. At the beginning, it was a hodgepodge of personal preferences versus a cohesive, unified, standardized system.
Yes.
From that, we are going to go and expand to where you one weekend told me, I have this idea. Let me put it together. I'll present it to you next week. And I said, oh my God, what is she doing? All I know is I was getting notifications left and right, left and right. I'm like, oh my goodness, what is she doing to this dashboard? Because my feedback as I started to use it was, I don't like it. It was too cumbersome
Hmm.
for someone that doesn't live in Asana every day, because remember, I have to look, I have to handle with IT, I have to handle with digital marketing. So I have two different platforms that I have to manage. One which I know because I program and develop myself and everything in and out. One that we bought has been put together by other people, by Mallory in this case. And I kind of have to learn and get in her brain and kind of understand like what makes sense for her. So for me, it was taking a lot of mental processes to
Work.
find myself into a document that I want to see, a report that I want to see. So what we did is we did a little polling with all the departments, and everybody kind of gave back some feedback. and you took that feedback. I don't want to say you took it personally, but you took it as a
Oh, I
challenge.
did.
Oh, you
I
did as well?
did.
Okay, so
Oh,
both. You took it
yeah.
personally
Well,
and as a
Asana is my
challenge.
baby. I've put way too many hours in that thing. Anything that is in Asana, I will take personally because I've put a lot of sweat, tears, time, sleep into that platform.
And after that, you completely retool Asana. So how has Asana improved our productivity and collaboration? I'll have to go back and say again, from a secondhand user, because I'm not as in it as Mallory is, I love how we're able to just move it, adjust it to our liking. Because as I
Which
was
I
saying,
hate that you guys do that.
no. I'm not even getting to that customization. I'm getting to the overall layout, the overall folder
Oh, that we
client
get to
structure.
design it to the
Because
business.
when I came in on board to use it more often,
Hmm.
I found myself lost and frustrated. I was always sending you a message, where do I find this? Where do I find that? Where do I find this? Where do I find that? And it's annoying. I dislike having to ask where things are at. I dislike having to bother a team member for things that I should be able to find. And it gets to a point that it gets frustrating for you. Like, okay, bro, like how many times I have to show you this is where you go? But once we did the feedback and everything, everybody kind of had the same perspective. So you took it
Yeah.
as a challenge and you took it personally because yes, you have invested a lot of sweat, tears, and blood, you know,
Well, not blood,
equity
sleep.
into it's a saying, but yeah,
I
sleep. So
know.
sleep, sweat, and tears, a lot of equity of those into this platform. But I like what you came out after that because you redesigned the entire layout in a way that it actually mimics my own IT layout. How I have clients in a main folder. So if I want to see a client, I can just dive in right away. I don't have to like dive into different things. You broke down our departments in QTech to different sections and everything else. And you went through that element. So when I saw the final product, I was like, oh my God, this is so much easier. If I want a client, I just go to clients. I don't have to like guess which packet they have or is this an SEO, is this a writing? I don't have to have any of those.
Guys, it was not like that. He just didn't want to find the actual
Man, it
client.
was it was like finding a needle in a haystack. But now, if I want a client, I go to a client. And then if I want to see what the client has, I just click on the client. It tells me everything the client has. And if I want to go into the SEO department, guess what? SEO department. It tells me the package. I click on it and I see all the stuff for SEO or all the writing, the copying department, and so on and so on. So it's more fluent. It's more
Mm,
user friendly. And I noticed a big uptick on usage after that change.
yeah.
One of the cool things as an administrator, you can go in the back on the dashboard and you can kind of see activity. You can kind of see stats. And I'm able to see how after that change, productivity, tasks, projects, everything started like duplicating, stats went crazy. And it just speaks to the self of, okay, Asana is great. And a tool is only as great as its master. And in this case, Mallory being the master, she took that feedback, she retooled the entire layout of the system and came up with a product that was able to assist us and have a better workflow. So, what specific features of Asana stood out for me? I really liked the flexibility because even though you dislike it, we're able to kind of customize our things. And with that comes the flexibility of being able to tailor the products and projects to a layout that you find more attractive, easier for you to visualize, easier for you to understand. From that perspective, I like how they're actively making changes. And by the way, guys, this is not a sponsored video. We're not getting paid for this or anything. We're just sharing our journey of tools that we have used. And Asana is the current one that we have. I'm sure that if something better comes out there, we'll look at it. And if it makes sense for us, I'm sure we'll come down to the painful discussion of do we want to migrate, yes or no. With that, the specific features that stood out for me was the automation, because I think that was a game changer.
Yep.
Once the automation came out, it was a game changer because it allows so much flexibility and it took a big load off your back. It used to be a process where you had to manually look at things, manually ensure people are clicking
Mm,
here, dragging
yeah.
this part from here to there, and doing all this manual labor that I remember you called me and you were just jumping like a child saying, look at the email, look at the email that I sent you, and you were sharing the release notes and said, and you already had this whole workflow planned out in your head, and you were just
Yeah.
reading the things. And for me, automation was a huge, huge game changer because it legit freed up your time, and at the scope that we were growing and everything. If that wasn't the case, we would have had to hire a person just to move cards and keep tabs of Asana, because
Yeah.
it'll become a full-time job just to do that, all the projects and everything. So this automation for me was a godsend, because on the back end, you're able to set your workflow. When this happens, then else, and this happens if or else, and the cards move automatically as long as people are clicking that they're done. So that has been something that I found really cool on myself. How about you?
I think that that's one of the features that I like the most. I like that a project, well, they have optimized it way more, which now they have folders, which is portfolios, where I can add multiple projects, and within those projects I can divide them inside. So I love that. I love the automation. I love the automation, the fact that I can make a task become a project, the fact that I can make a form drop in by itself from a link. A form drops into a specific project, and then it moves through the pipeline by itself. And then every time it moves, it generates some tasks. And then after that, it creates its own project. Then I just have to reorganize it at the end, but it's pretty much already built. So automation is really one of the key things. The status update tracking is also really, really cool because you get to see updates from the entire team and the entire projects, even though that I do admit I have to be a little bit more on top of status updates. Yeah, I think that Asana is so versatile and it's so easy to create anything. I'm telling you, this can be used for anyone and for any type of business, or managing your journaling, your health, your household, because it can be used on your phone, on to go, all the way to managing your corporation, all the way to managing your team, your ideas. You can sync stuff. It's so flexible. That's what I like. And it's not focused on one type of industry. I see Asana, and I am telling you with confidence, I could create a board for absolutely any type of business for them to manage their projects there
Oh no,
organized.
I'm sure, because we've come up with some great ideas, and one of the cool features you remind me of is the forms. So,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, there's this thing in Asana where you can create a form and automate a workflow with that form. So, for example, how we do our client briefs for different things, we send them a link, they fill it out, they submit it. Guess what? Asana automatically creates
It
whatever we
jumps to a
tell it to
section.
create,
Hmm.
and we go over there, we get notified that somebody completed the form, it puts it in the right pipeline, it informs the corresponding departments and people, and everybody starts automatically getting their tasks. And we don't have to worry about, did you do it? Did you fill it out? No, we get notified. It automatically notifies the departments
Yeah.
that need to spawn into action and go from there. So what feedback have we received from team members?
Well, I mean, we have received a lot of feedback. But I feel like our team is very comfortable with their processes per department and then with the overall layout of Asana as well.
So for me, the feedback has been this new layout and new implementation has been a great success, because not only am I finding things easier, the team is finding things easier. So when they have to do their reports, when they have to submit their tasks, it's more intuitively to find where you have to go and attach that report, complete that status update, check off that milestone or goal, and proceed. So for me, it's been a great thing, and we use Asana for all of our projects, and based on that, it has really helped us stay on track. It has really helped us with what we need to do day in, day out, and it has been a tool that has paid for itself at this point, because it allows us to get work done in a way that we couldn't do with Teams, that we couldn't do with Trello. Even though Trello is very similar to a style of Asana, Asana has more expandability, more customization that you can do. Because if you just want to keep track of a project, Trello will be more than perfect. But if you want to keep track of a project that you have automate and different dependencies that different departments have to engage at different points, be able to track those goals and milestones, as well as create status reports so you can easily understand if you're on track, off track, or you're green. Green means good. Then Asana is the platform that allows me to be proactive with our customers. I go in there, I look at it, and I say, is this something that I need to communicate with the customers before problems come up? Try to be as proactive as possible to avoid any nasty surprises down the road that might come because of a missed posting, a missed click, or something like that. So it's definitely a tool that has made our jobs easier, especially with all the lead work and blood, no blood, sweat, tears, and lack of sleep deprivation that you have put into this platform. So it's been a great tool to have. Let's move into our next section, which is lessons learned and what advice. So what are some of your key takeaways from this journey when we started from Pagico and the wave that brought us now to Asana, and how Asana continues to evolve with us?
You want to share yours?
I can start with mine. So my key takeaways is, as a business owner, we're always looking at the bottom line. And at times we try to take shortcuts. We try to use software, push together solutions with tape and bubblegum without really taking into account the toll that it takes on the team. The additional time, and it might be minuscule, 5 minutes, but guess what? 5 minutes times 5, that adds up. Times 365, those 5 minutes become hours. Those hours become days. Those days can become weeks of lost productivity on mundane tasks, where if you just listen and looked at the options and made the decision based on data, those 5 minutes, those days, those weeks could easily pay for the subscription of any platform. Again, as long as the study, the return on investment makes sense for your business. This might not apply to everybody, but as you get to that point, one of my recommendations that I give to any business owner that is looking at expanding tools, not just productivity, anything else, is do the math. What is this tool going to do for me? How is this tool going to make us more efficient? How is this going to help my workflow, whatever your workflow is? Because once you do those numbers, you will find that by implementing X tool, you will have time savings. Time savings translates into salaries, which that has a real amount. Because let's say Mallory, she's stuck with Teams. And for her to create a report that it takes 1 second in Asana to do with a click of a button, it takes her 2 hours. That's 2 hours out of 8-hour day that she's manually finagling, trying to put things together with screenshots and populate data from different places of lost productivity because her time, her skill set can be put to use somewhere else to further the mission and the vision of the company. So that's my takeaway from our journey. Because again, I don't live inside of Asana. I do now. I use it a lot more. I interact with the boards. I interact with the cards. People assign things to me now. I assign things to people and such. And I love the workflow. I love the workflow because I don't have to call a meeting every time I want to make a change. I just pop in there, add a card, put a comment, and it saves us meeting time. So that's another element that you have to look into. Is this tool helping those meeting because of meeting? You know, I love the memes. This meeting could have been an email. Well, this meeting could have been an Asana card because it's just adding it there. People can comment, conversation gets started. And then once you feel that the conversation is kind of growing too much, then you can intervene and say, hey, let's get together, side talk. What are you not getting? What's the problem? You meet, you solve the issue, you document it, and you carry forward. We're not calling an entire team meeting where SEO is sitting there scratching their thumbs as we're talking about design, scope, or issue. No, we're able to target each department. We're able to focus on pain points, intersect those pain points, explain the procedure, and move forward without having to slow everybody else down. One key takeaway that I want to add to you would be the automation. That journey has something that we got as a bonus because when we bought into Asana, that wasn't even the pipeline. That was like a little carrot hanging from the tree saying, oh my God, you're a good boy. Here you go. And I'm like, thank you. Can I have more carrots? Because that was game changer. And I'm telling you guys, I keep talking about it. It was because I know for a fact how much time she was spending hounding team members to click this, move this, or her having to do herself to ensure the project was moving forward. So not only do we look at a platform, we look at its developers, we look at its history. How often do they release new versions? How often do they have meetings or conferences about their product? What is the roadmap? And a roadmap, in case you're not aware of, it's kind of like directions of where the software is going to go. So you have version 1, and this is what version 1 is going to do. Then when we get to version 2, this is what it's going to do. And that's a roadmap. It takes you from A all the way through. And that's a great insight into how is this company seeing their platform moving forward, not today, not tomorrow, but months, years down the road. And that tells you how committed these companies are in the product, because I have found a lot of promising software and hardware out there, but the developers have stopped engaging with it years or months ago. So I'm not going to buy into a platform that is already dead.
Yeah, if they can keep up with technology and if they can keep up with improving the user experience, that's a plus.
And these items fall into what I call mistakes to avoid, and advice to other teams that are seeking a right productivity tool. Because just because it works for us is not going to work for you. But take the time to analyze, ask the right questions. If you're not educated, don't be afraid to ask, what is it? How does it work? Because you're going to be making a financial investment. And these platforms can be cheap. These platforms could be expensive.
Yep.
So when you're looking at the expenditure that you're making, you want to make sure you have a return on investment. And that is people time and client satisfaction as you build everything together. So mistakes to avoid platforms that are dead, avoid platforms that don't have a clear roadmap, understanding of what they're doing, avoid companies who are trying to sell, but when you try to reach them for any other stuff, nobody knows what they're talking about.
Correct.
They just know how to sell to you, and they want you to buy now, forget later. Research. Google is your best friend. YouTube, as Mallory was saying, she found this YouTuber out there who was doing masterclass in Asana. She tagged along, she did it, and she learned it, and she was able to come present these things with such a confidence that I'm like, wow, okay, let's go. So her confidence gave me confidence to also jump in and delegate. We can't do it all. We have to run a business and different departments as well. So I was lucky that Mallory was here. I was able to delegate to her. I left her alone. In hindsight, I wish I would have been more supportive in reference to how can we work on this together and such, but I was so focused on the IT side and growing things forward that I just said, here you go, good luck, and I left. But at least she was able to take the task, own it, and get us to where we are today, which we've been with Asana for what, 2-3 years now?
3.
Or more? Yeah.
3, almost 4, actually.
Thank goodness. So our future plans and potential enhancement for workflow, those are kind of handled on feedback. And right now we're happy.
Yeah.
Right now we're happy. Mallory has done, like I said, Mallory has done a great job and the way she has laid out these boards.
I still have to clean a couple of things, but
Well, I'm sure it's never ending,
Yeah.
But again, we love what we do. Might be a little crazy, but I do enjoy what I do and moving things and playing with software and playing with hardware. It's actually relaxing for me. I'm not sure if you playing in Asana.
Asana is therapy for me.
We'll see. So Coro's a little crazy that these things are actually
designing these things and testing them to maybe create a better process more than what we have. It gives me mental peace.
And it's rewarding because you can see like your idea kind of come together and the platform kind of give you an answer and like you're right, you're wrong.
The best feeling is when the entire team is like, wow, it worked. Or, oh, we're using it. I'm like, yes, they're using it.
Oh, and then I'm sure one of your big journey takeaways is me jumping on board and using it and clicking and commenting and everything else.
That's like my golden medal.
Yeah.
The fact that you still don't use it how I want you to use it, but you find things now, which is a great progress, It's great.
We'll get that. Because I am getting the hang of it. I am understanding I'm not bothering you as much as I used to find things. I can find it myself. I only bother you when team members don't submit what they're supposed to submit on time, and I don't see it there.
That's a new challenge, but it's not a new challenge. It's a different challenge, but we're working on that too.
So we actually collected some questions from our listeners for this episode. So some of the questions are, What were the top features you were looking for in a productivity platform? I'll kind of let you answer that if you.
I needed to have a calendar feature, list feature, automation now is a must. But at that time, I was looking for something to be kind of automated because, oh, man, you're human. You're human. You can't move so many things at the same time, and if you don't move one, then a bunch of other things would get backed up. So that was a huge inconvenience for me. Um, and a place where everything was pretty much like organized. So, the Trello was kind of disorganized. The Airtable was severely disorganized last platform. Looking back and comparing, Pagico was also the look of it was very disorganized. So
It looks a lot better now.
it's just the look and feel had to be very user friendly and not confusing, even though that at first it can be daunting, like it can be, oh wow, hold on, what the heck am I, but it's because it's so organized that it's like shocking to the brain. That's the feeling, but a clean look, it's something that I was really looking for.
I do agree with you because from my experience with Trello, when you're presented with so much data in front of you, kind of get overwhelmed and you're just like, you know what, I'm just gonna close this and not even touch it.
Yeah.
So yes, look and feel for me, how the data is presented, visuals are a huge part of these systems that they have to keep in mind because people spend the entire day on them, and it's got to be in a way that it's not taxing the brain because then you get that fatigue and that's when mistakes and things start happening. So our next question is, how did you handle team members who were resistant to change? Hey, how did you handle me?
By not giving up.
Not giving up is that's a good answer because yes, I was very hesitant to jump on board this because again, I was so used to my systems and I had to learn something else. But again, in hindsight, I be open because it's so important once you see the big picture. Again, sometimes we get so caught down a little tunnel that we can't see left and right and we're missing out. And yeah, I missed out, but now I'm making up. I'm learning it, I'm using it, and it's been a great experience. Next question is, can you share a specific project that was significantly improved by using Asana? Oh,
All of them.
all of them. My goodness. Just the fact that we have client dashboards where they log in and see their stuff and manage their things, submit, approve, add requests.
I'm still
We have
working on those.
forms.
Those have to be
My
better designed. I just put a pause
goodness.
in that project, but that is really cool.
We have cut down on so many meetings, so many requests. It just, you have stuff to give us. Here's your form, submit it. Our
You
design
can see
request.
everything.
Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, we have design packages. So if you are part of one of those design packages, it's a la carte. You go into a conference tomorrow. I mean, not tomorrow because it doesn't work that quick. But next month, you open your form, you click all the things that you want. You give us a specific. You submit. Our design team gets it. It automatically gets assigned and everything. And next thing you know, you get notified for approvals. Once you approve it, we send it to the print house, and you're surprised to your
With your
office with a
items.
delivery, or at times, because of time, we ship it directly to the conference. So when you arrive to the conference, you already have your box waiting for you with all your materials for that event. So Asana has made that workflow so seamless. What were some unexpected benefits you discovered after implementing Asana?
Well, being able to have clients approve stuff.
For me, it's automation. My goodness,
And
that was such a
automation, yes,
bonus. I feel
automation.
like you have to pay extra for that. It was such a big change that I'm like, I don't even recall if I did ask you, and I was like, is this extra? Like, do we have to pay for this? Is this like an upcharge? And you're like, no, it's included. So I'm
No,
like,
you
oh,
asked me if I was doing a trial of
oh, that's what I
automations.
did. Yes.
Yeah, I was like, no, it's included.
So that was like a game changer for me. Next question is, did you face any significant challenges during the transition period, and how did you overcome them?
I mean, it was just a test, bombard everyone at night, test. I would have to send emails. Hey, disregard all notifications, please. I'm testing stuff.
I do recall that.
Hey, everyone's gonna get bombarded tomorrow night, so please disregard. No one, that's not work for you. It's just I'm testing something new. So that's pretty much it.
I do recall that. In my side was just getting people to do what they're supposed to do because we're creatures of habit, and some team members
That
kind of
was something, yeah.
got into what we had before, or oh, we used to use email, or so it was a little challenging breaking those habits, myself included. Again,
And teaching them the new systems. Because I have updated our systems about 6 to 7 times already.
yes.
Andres has joined us on the last two systems, but Asana has been, the whole thing has been recreated about 7 times.
And you already kind of go into the next question. How do you manage ongoing training and updates within the team for Asana?
Now I approach it differently because before I was babying everyone, I was pampering everyone, I was customizing it so much. Now I don't approach it that way. Now it's more, hey, I want everyone's feedback. What would you change that is going to help the entire team, not just you? You know, now we need to think all holistically as one. And that gives me a better understanding of how to cater to everyone's needs without sacrificing things that are going to break the flow for the entire company.
And that was something that I do recall the discussion because you were getting frustrated, I was getting frustrated, and we came to the decision. We said, you know what, enough catering.
Yeah.
It didn't work this way. Now we're going to standardize everything around, and it
And
has
I
worked.
still ask for feedback, it's just it's a different approach of feedback,
Correct.
because I still want the entire team to help me build it, right? Because I already built it all on my own doesn't mean that I don't want other people's perspectives because again, you can have a great idea, but if you have 5, 7 brains, they might show you areas where you're lacking or where you could improve. So having more brains, having more eyes on something you're creating will make you improve the product.
Being open to feedback is very important.
Yeah.
So thank you for adding that. And then we manage ongoing training and updates as part of the team, but we keep a standardization in the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure everything's done the same way. We do allow some level of personalification to some users based on what they have to do, but we try to keep everything the same so everybody follows the same workflow. What advice would you give to a company just starting to look for a new productivity tool?
Check out Asana or call us and we can build something for you.
Yeah. To be honest with you, no, I'm with you. It's, again, this is not sponsored. We're not getting paid. Asana is not giving us anything for this. We're just, as we were discussing topics, as we were going through things, this came up. I said, you know what? We've had a heck of a journey to get here. And we've actually stuck with this platform for several years now. And I don't have any issues with it. We haven't outgrown it. I don't think we will because it just continues to expand month over month, year over year. And I see it as part of our tool set for years to come.
They're a great company they do a great job in staying on top of innovation. They really do. They have a full community where all of their users constantly on a monthly basis request new features. And let me tell you, I do spend some time in there, and it's so cool to see the requests to reality. Like they listen to their community, and that's something that I really, really like from Sana. They're a company that has built partnerships and has built community and has, you know, helped many different businesses. And they really take the time to do social listening, like true social listening, because you can see it in their product.
And it's true. And it's true because you can see it again. You can see it on the updates. You can see it on the communications. Where you have to deal with support, they're very, very responsive and such. So again, it comes back to picking a company that is there for the product.
I have one feature that we did not mention that I think is one of my favorites now. Andres got this feature before me, and I was going nuts. I was not even kidding. How stressed I was because I opened so many boards at the same time, and I am doing this project, open this one, open this one, open this one. In the app, you could only have one project at a time. So I would have to go on the web and not the app and have all of my tabs open. When he shares his screen one day, I see a bunch of tabs of different project views, but he's in the app. And I was like, why? How did you get that? Like, I need that. And it was so annoying because I wrote to them, I sent them emails, I had a call with the representative asking why does someone from my team have it and I don't, and I need it. And eventually, and the really cool thing, and I wish I'm gonna find it. When I got the update, I was so excited. I actually sent a message to support. I was like, "Oh my god, I got." Probably they didn't even see it, or probably they don't even care.
It did. No,
But
they did.
I was so excited. I was like, "Oh my god, thank you so much. I've been with you guys on support asking for this. One of my team members has it and I don't, and you are saving my life right now." That's how grateful I was for that feature. And I let them know. And it was really cool. I was super excited. It was one of the features that I've looked for that I was just anxiously waiting to get released in my app. Truly, it was a
Yeah,
gift.
the tabs was game changer for me when I started seeing it and playing with it and started asking my question like, how come you don't have it? I was able to,
Yeah.
bother
I
you
was a
with it
little
for a few
jealous. I'm
weeks,
not gonna
months.
lie. Yeah. For a couple months, I was a little jealous. I was like, damn it. I was even
Outside of
trying to see if I could download two apps just so I could kind of replicate
open to the
something.
tabs at the same time.
Yeah.
Outside of the tabs feature, this is the last question that we have from our listeners. Are there any features you wish Asana had that it currently doesn't?
100%. One, I would like to see more AI incorporated. I know they're already starting to incorporate it, but I feel like they can do a lot more and offer different boards a lot more. I think that they lack an aspect of documentation purposes. This is more tracking, but I think that if they had an option of creating documents and creating documentation inside of the product, it would be amazing. That's the main reason why I had to deviate a little bit to Loop or to another outsource to add or pack a lot of information within a task is too overwhelming and it overwhelms my team. So that's something that I would really appreciate. Another thing is status updates and
Yeah, they
goals.
need some love.
I think that they could get a really big optimization. You should be able to add way more information and insight from your board on your status update, like comments that have already previously done on tasks to show up there so you don't have to rewrite stuff. That would be game changer. And maybe stats of time of
Be able
logins,
to
like
link, be able to link this all the previous status reports or weekly or quarterly,
into
whichever reports
exactly
into a massive
into
report
a
where you can.
massive report. That is something that we tried replicating manually and it was a fail. So that's something that if we could get a feature of, hey, you can see your past month, you can see your last quarter, you can see on your status updates, that would be a super plus. Asana, if you're listening to this, please take notes. I have already sent it to your community forum, so it's okay. Probably you've seen my name there several times. So yeah, I think the goals needs more simplification. It's way too complex and so overwhelming
It
that I
is.
feel like people don't use it because of that. And I've seen on the forum as well, people are like, it looks so cool, but it's so scary to use
And it goes back to what I said at the beginning, how
that,
you present data, how you visualize data is so important because it
yeah.
might turn you off. It might be the best product since sliced bread,
Hmm.
but if it's not presented in a way that it's not cumbersome to your and taxing to your brain, it turns you off automatically because you're like, oh, you know what? I don't have the brain cells right now to tackle
Yeah.
this Everest of a task in front of me, which is learn how to do goals. And that's something that we've been wanting to do as well
Yeah.
ourselves.
And there's one more feature that I would 100% think that it would be that a lot of people have been asking for this, and I don't know when we're gonna get it, but we need to get it. One task assigned for multiple people.
Hallelujah. I was just thinking about this yesterday as I was looking at some of my
We need
tasks that
that.
I needed to collaborate with somebody. You got to be able to put it
That
to
would
people, man.
make life so much easier.
Because right now
And
what
it
we
would
do is
make
we create
tasks,
subtasks. Yeah.
exactly, it would make tasks way smaller if we could have that feature. And that's it.
So any additional before we move
No,
into our
probably
closing
have
remarks?
more in my little journal, but no, not for now.
So, dear listeners, thank you for listening to today's episode. As you heard, we talked about our journey in the productivity tool search. We started with Pagico, which was a great little product that has come long ways to how we jumped to different platforms: Monday, Trello, Open Table.
I even considered Notion.
Notion, Monday, you name it. And we finally landed in Asana,
Mhm.
and how we went through the process of reviewing the challenges, exploring the options, choosing Asana, and then implementing it, doing a transition, then finding out its current use, its current benefits, and now we're sharing kind of our lessons with you on how we could have done things differently or could have done things better.
Mhm.
It's been a journey of learning, patience, and foresight that I see now. Now, I'll be lying to you if I had that foresight back then. I didn't. I was more interested, like I said earlier, in a dollar amount. But luckily, you hit me with the right pointers, hit me with the right tools. You show me the data, and that made me say, you know what, we do need this tool, and I haven't looked back ever since. So, dear listeners, I would like to encourage you to share your own experiences, whether it's at your own business, a place of work. I'm sure that you have gone through different transitions, the medical field. You guys change EMRs every now and then, and there's always a discussion of, I wish it had this, I wish I had that. PMOs out there, you guys are always transitioning from different management platforms and such. So share your input with us, share your story with us,
Mhm.
and let us know what has worked for you. Mallory, you want to take us home and close this out?
Yeah. Well, this is the last episode of the season. So we're saying goodbye for a little bit. We're already working on the next season, and it's gonna be very exciting. So you should tune in. And you will be able to see, if you haven't heard the other episodes, if you follow us on social media, you will be able to see in the following months uh, clips here and there from past episodes. Maybe they will inspire you to hear the full thing. So we love you guys and thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you in the next one, and stay tuned for more. Mallory, always a pleasure. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, guys.